Thanks for clicking on this video. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon and turn on all notifications to keep up to date with the latest information and discussions. Uh-oh. Dragon Ball and timelines coming together for a video? You might want to get the popcorn ready. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Haverock and I are back to provide more videos concerning one of the things that makes Dragon Ball so endearing. And yet, it makes it so frustrating when it comes to mapping out events during the main part of the lore. Timelines. Yay! But wait, Masako, why are these such an issue? Have you seen what's been going on in Super? Not to mention all the stuff in the Cell Saga? I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it cemented the idea that timelines and Toriyama don't really mix. It's a love-hate relationship. While doing the research for our History of the Saiyans video, the last couple of weeks have just been a bit weird in terms of timeline mythology. We've noticed some interesting oddities in said timeline of Dragon Ball. And I'm not talking about the ones the likes of Toei has to point out on their website, or stuff that the majority of you fellows are already aware of. We're talking about things that have come and gone without necessarily being realized all that much, that they're odd or weird, or whatever hyperbole you wish to use to denote peculiarity. First things first, we are by no means saying that we're the first people to point these out. Nor do we think that Toriyama is particularly scrupulous about the timeline, but we thought that it might make for fun material for a video, so we're gonna do it. As has been documented many times, Toriyama likes to write by the chapter, and sometimes things slip through the cracks when recalling something from years ago. It's human nature, we can't all remember everything. It's happened loads of times for such things as names, colours, events, and as we know, even characters. They're not safe from the forgetful mind of Akira Toriyama, as we all know. So here are 5 things that the two of us would like to share with you today. There are more of these to discover, but these ones are something special, and things that we are particularly excited to share with you. Now, this first one is a twofer, as they are kind of related. Numbers 1 and 2, the Mood's retirement and the weird case of Beerus. Ah yes, Vermood. We're so used to calling him Belmoth though, it's just very weird to use his English name now. For those of you who are watching Super on Toonami at the moment, you'll be very familiar with his antics. He is the GOD of Universe 11, the reverted Joker, and a pretty formidable GOD at that. Everybody seems to defer to his ways and what his mood is, which denotes a huge level of respect amongst the Kais and heavenly community, despite his universe being only the 5th strongest in the multiverse. He must have been doing his job for a long time in order to achieve this kind of reputation and status. Why is this? Okay, so this first part of information isn't that new. We know that Vermood's gimmick during the universe survival arcs, that he's preparing his replacement in the form of Toppo, whom we see demonstrate his potential in great detail. Yeah, Frieza got a front seat for that show. So if he's getting a replacement lined up, then that would mean that he wants to retire, right? Well, right. How long has Vermood been doing the job of a GOD? Is it some kind of arbitrary figure that we often see, or do we even get a figure at all? For once, my friends, we got a specific figure. We can actually pinpoint Vermood's reign almost to the day. What's the source? Well, it's the manga. I would show you the page specifically, but, you know, Shueisha's a little... yeah. You can read the manga for yourself in the interim to confirm this. He is celebrating his 87,910,715th day as a GOD, when the Tournament of Power is formally announced. Sounds like a lot? Well, yes and no. Yes, because that is way more than any of us could ever expect to live for, but when it comes to the realms of the Kais, it's not that long. Remember, this is the longest serving GOD in history, supposedly. 87,910,715 days only equates to about 240,686 years and 153 days. To a mortal, like we said, that is a lot, but when compared to what we saw with the Buu Saga in Z, it's not that impressive. And especially when we consider that Beerus may be older than that, in terms of serving after all. How do we know this? Well, this is a tidbit coming from the likes of Battle of Gods, the beginning of the sea change when it comes to Dragon Ball lore for the modern age. Now, according to the Elder Kai, Beerus was the one to lock him in the Z-Sword, which Gohan broke and therefore released the deity. So when did the original sealing in the sword occur? Oh, a trifling 75 million years ago. Prior to that, Beerus and the Elder Kai had been meeting every 1,000 years at that point to discuss affairs within the universe. Okay, so these kind of figures are the kind that to us start to lose all meaning, and we cannot really find much to compare to. It's understandable because biologically to us humans, it's a miracle if one of us just lives to past 100. If there are any centenarians watching right now, then thank you by the way. To give you an idea as to how old Beerus truly is and has been in the role for Universe 7 as a GOD, he was already in the hot seat when you could find Protoceratops still roaming the earth, as well as, supposedly, witnessed the great event that saw the creatures of Jurassic Park go bye-bye. He claims that he was the one to initiate the event as well, but who's going to be able to counter that fact? No one. He didn't do a good job of it, as there are dinosaurs still roaming around the earth at Toriyama's Dragon World, but that could have been down to something else, like maybe an evolutionary event that saw dinosaurs that we see in Dragon Ball differ from their original counterparts prior to Beerus' little hissy fit. Again, with numbers like that, we cannot question the kitty cat. Even if we consider Beerus' regular 50-year naps, Vermood's time as a GOD is dwarfed by the insane length of Beerus', and by proxy, Champa's reign. Vermood has been awake for far longer, and has done so much more to be an attentive and fair GOD, unlike Beerus, who would shift responsibility most likely to his attendant. Not what you're supposed to do. Now, since we haven't done so in a long time, let's turn our focus back to our Supreme Kai-Shin. He's gotten away with a lot lately, because he hasn't done anything. So Shin's reign as Grand Supreme Kai is even shorter, since he has also only just acquired the position through, let's say, odd manners. Somewhere between before age 239,856 and 6,233. That doesn't sound too weird, but we can go one step further. According to various sources, the earliest known Kais are rumoured to have appeared around 100 million years ago. To have one Supreme Kai for all that time would be weird, right? So if that's the case, then potentially Universe 7 has only had 2 GODs potentially since the establishment of the Sacred World of the Kais, which makes Beerus' reign even weirder, when he states that he's been a GOD for hundreds of millions of years. Having said that, who in Universe 7 is going to question it? No one. That puts things in perspective, doesn't it? No wonder Beerus would be finding it hard to stay awake. If Vermood is that bored after not even sub 250,000 years on the job, then Beerus must be leagues more tired and wearied with the gig. And yet, he's still there. Is Vermood truly done with being the GOD of Universe 11? Or is this something that he feels compelled to do? It's hard to say without further clues, but we're almost 100% sure that Beerus isn't the longest reigning GOD. Not at all. If it did turn out to be true, then that would be stated already in the show, or in the manga from someone who isn't Beerus to confirm it. So that puts our resident clown GOD in a very weird position. Of course, this whole chicanery could be down to the fact that Toyotaro and Toriyama just inserted a random number just for the heck of it. Toriyama has plucked numbers out of the ether in the past, so what's to say that he did it again, and Toyotaro just rolled with it? Having a number of tens of millions of days is meant to look imposing, right? Nor do I suspect that they would ever think that people would ever start to counter that and take that number to heart. But that's what people like us do. And fandom wikis. Number 3, the history of the Saiyans, blank space and no time to rest. So we want to keep this one brief, since we've already covered this general topic over the past 2 videos to discuss the origins of the Saiyans from what we know. But this next thing is something worth your time. Have you noticed how weird the timeline works with the Saiyans? We have some rumors about Yamoshi over 1,000 years ago, then almost nothing. And then if we ever do get something, it's from Dragon Ball Legends or Heroes, all the way up to the destruction of Sadala. And then we suddenly have the Saiyan Sufurian Barney, which takes place over a decade. It just seems really weird that we have nothing, and then this huge cataclysm. Huge swathes of Saiyan history are just missing. Is this because the Saiyans didn't do anything noteworthy at the time? Or did somebody deliberately remove these points in their legacy so that means no one would ever know the truth? All of these thoughts indicate 2 possible situations. Firstly, King Vegeta III was the one to call the planet Vegeta. And second, Planet Plant was only known as Vegeta for like 7 years. Of course, there could be an explanation. Perhaps Saiyans may have just referred to their homeworld as Vegeta or Sadala just because King Vegeta I was around. But seeing how it was portrayed in the original story, it feels that after some pretty long times of stagnation, Saiyans became super active, which isn't improbable. It's just kind of odd. Maybe this is a conspiracy by King Cole to keep these monkeys in their place. Who knows? Number 4, character ages. As of the latest episode in Dragon Ball Super, we are in age 780. So we thought it would be funny to show you what the state of play with the ages are, and the wider spectrum. Born in age 732 are Vegeta, Launch, and Broly, which makes them 48 years old at the time of the Broly movie. But wait! Remember, we got timeline problems. Vegeta's been in the time chamber a fair few times, so add another 5 years to good measure to make the prince about 53 years old. So yeah, Broly's not so much of a young boy after all. He's like nearly 50. Man, saying aging is weird sometimes, am I right? Next on the list are Bulma, Tenshinhan, and Yamcha, who were born in age 733, which sets them at 47. Mr. Satan and Krillin are 44, Goku is 40, 44 thanks to the time chamber again, and Chi-Chi is 43. Chaozu is 42. How old does he look? Oolong and Puar are also 40. Marin is meant to be 9 years old, right? She's meant to be 9. She's only a few years away from this and the end of Z. Here's us being concerned about Goten and Trunks about not grey. Poor Marin. Number 5. Weird anachronisms in the history of the Dragon World. Yeah, we know that we shouldn't always try to judge the Dragon World with real-world logic, but sometimes the allure to question the workings of the world is just too great to pass up. Haverock and I were just thinking one day, isn't it kind of weird that the electric cooker in which King Piccolo is sealed is meant to be like 292 years old at the time of its introduction? A rice cooker that's nearly 3 centuries old, with cute little stickers on it and a plug. Yes, it's a Toriyama thing, but wow, the people 300 years ago were advanced. Though they really wanted to perfect warming up rice in the past. We also know that 227 years ago, the Dragon World already had, well, questionable magazines, as Roshi is stated to have started his mammoth collection in age 553. At the same time, primitive Saiyans were well into cementing their current situation. In other lore, Android 6, a robot that Grandpa Gohan finds in the filler, was buried 99 years ago, which puts the timeline of Dr. Brief's founding Capsule Corps in age 712 into question. It would also make him well over 100 years old in age 780. Granted, we've had characters that were centuries old in the past, including Roshi, but does this man look like he's that old? He looks like he's in his 60s. Is he really? What is he hiding? Okay, we might have gotten a little bit carried away with that last one, but we hope that you like this little fun ride with this timeline. Dragon Ball is one of those stories that is going to have some weird stuff happen in it. It's a given. However, that's what makes it all the more charming and different from the series with perfect timelines, which are rigid and set in stone, no flexibility for speculation at all. The Dragon World is evolving and things change, which is great. It means that we can be like historians or futurists and evaluate the evidence and see what's what in time. I'm excited to be one of these people, and I encourage you to be the same. So what do you guys think? Did these oddities strike a chord with you? Have you found oddities of your own? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Catch you later!